Peace, fam. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Black Politics and Baseline Theory. I'm your host, Brother Nkosi. Before I deal with the subject of Black unity, I just want to make things clear so that we can kind of help manage people's expectations. You come to the channel, you see this guy, there's a picture, nobody's talking, and you have some thoughts and you're ready to click off and move on to something else, and that's understandable. Let me help you out with that, though. This is the Black Education Channel. What does that mean? Well, kind of like back in the day when I was a young man, I'm originally from New York. When I lived there and during the time when we didn't have cable or anything like that, we just had basic broadcast channels. We had channel 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and channel 13. Channel 13 was the educational channel. So you didn't turn to that channel for amusement or anything. You kind of turned to that channel because maybe you wanted your children to learn something, so you let them watch Sesame Street and the Electric Company, or maybe you wanted to learn something, so you maybe put on the McNeil Larimer Report and different things that they had on there were educational. That's what this channel is. It's educational. It's not necessarily for your entertainment. It's more for your inner attainment. You know, we're talking about things that are important to Black people. A friend of mine said, well, you know, when you do these videos, you got to kind of make sure you get their attention in the first 2 minutes. Otherwise, they'll go on to something else. And I have seen that to be the case. I've seen where people I do a video and they turn off after 3 minutes. But I decided I'm really not going to be trying to do things that are dependent on people's short attention spans. The things that I talk about on this channel pretty much took me 40 years of uh, organizing in the Black community, studying, et cetera, reading big, thick ass books and understanding very complex concepts in terms of politics. Because let you know a little secret, brothers and sisters, politics is not easy. Okay, it's a very complicated thing, and usually when people come up with little simplistic answers to every little busy thing, they usually don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to say something, and I'm not going to address it fully right now because it would complicate the issue even more than what I already said. It can be complicated because I'm gonna keep things very simple today. But let me tell you one of the things that helps to complicate the question of unity for Black people. Our view of who we are. Not to make this complicated, fam, so I'm just gonna mention it in passing now. But the question of unity for Black people in America is actually even a more complex, not for some of the more obvious reasons, but because our structure is different. Black people in America, from my perspective, are a nation within a nation. Okay, this may be something you never heard before, but again, that goes back to how much of our history you've learned and how much you know. But I'm not the first person to say this, but Black people are a nation within a nation. And when you see it that way, it makes a lot of things more clear on one hand, but complicated on the other. You know, in terms of the question of unity, some of the things that might apply in some respects would not apply the same when you understand that we are a nation within a nation. You find yourself having to look at that slightly different than other people might look at. So I'm not going to talk much about that. That's advanced. That's really advanced, to be honest with you. We're just going to talk about basic unity today, and maybe we'll talk about some of the more advanced features on another occasion. In fact, today we're just going to talk about tactical unity because that's the one that we're most familiar with, even though we don't know it as such. But it's the one we actually engage in the most. It's the one that we're most successful with. And once we understand what it is and we learn how to use it better, we'll move forward. So, what is tactical unity? Tactical unity is short term and it's specific and it's focused. It's when people who don't agree on everything can agree on one action because it serves shared interests. So we may not agree on a lot of things, but we agreed tactically that, you know what, the way that Target was disrespectful to black people, we needed to boycott them, right? We didn't have to have a whole lot of meetings. People talked about it online. The call was made for the boycott, and that's what happened. People pretty much boycotted. Did everybody boycott it? Well, no, because you never really have 100% unity, but apparently enough people boycotted Target that it made a difference. Okay. And see, when you see things like that, that there are people who notice those things, all right? And that's why they do a lot of things to keep us confused and at each other's throat. Another thing, speaking of at each other's throat, you be seeing people online trying to create disunity. See, brothers and sisters, it's not who we get with. Okay, there's no push for us to join in with the Hispanic community and the Haitian and African community or Somali, whoever. There's no big push for that. But people get online and say, "Oh, well, we can't get down with these people, and we got to keep it 100 family. It's all about us." And usually, the people that say that have never done anything in terms of organizing in the community. It's just basically online talk. And I just got to put it out there because these are critical times, and you just can't be coming with the bullshit. We got to just be 100% honest with each other. This is when I show you this symbol here, the internal and the external. We got to deal with our internal issues and we got to deal with our external issues, and we have to be honest, okay? So again, tactical unity we do all the time. So, we boycott stuff, we agree with different things. It's never 100%, but that is the unity that we use all the time. There's another type of unity which is strategic, and that's when you say, yeah, well, we all want the same thing. We might want economic power, we want political leverage, but we disagree on things like methods, leaders, philosophies. So, for example, the Nation of Islam say, well, we need to do for self and kind. We need to build internally. You know what I'm saying? Other people say, well, no, we need to make sure we have electoral politics, that we have representation. And so they lend their energies and unity towards building electoral processes. You know what I'm saying? And you can grab into any of those. That takes some degree of unity. You're in unity with that particular thing. So, but never think that unity is some mystical, magical day of all black people coming together. We've come together on stuff all the time. One of the biggest shows of unity that I can think of, the two biggest shows of unity that I've seen in black people in my lifetime, was when we black people decided that we wanted a black president. We literally came together in unity to elect one. And I know people that voted that really didn't care that much for the electoral politics, electoral policies, I should say, or believe in it, but they said, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do this. And we came together in unity to do that. Another one that we did before that was the Million Man March. We decided that, you know what, yeah, I'm down with putting 1 million brothers in DC. And it wasn't just DC, just black people saying, oh, I'm getting on the bus and going there or whatever. People got there because there was an infrastructure created to help people get there. There were people that say, I want to go, but I ain't got no money. And they said, well, you know what? We're going to do some fundraisers in the community. People, you'll see that Nation of Islam, quote, organized it, but no, actually they didn't. They did the organization parts for the part that they needed to do in terms of sound equipment and stuff like that. But that was community coming together in unity because that was a shared goal and thought, that people agreed upon. I remember I wanted to go and I was like, I was talking to the sister at work and she lived in Maryland. I was living in Connecticut at the time. And in the course of talking to her, we knew each other was black and whatnot. And the conversation digressed from business to the fact that me and a friend of mine, this brother, matter of fact, former New York 21 brother, Ali Bey Hussan, him and I wanted to go to the Million Man March, right? And so I was like, yeah, but I'm saying, yeah, I can't make it down there, sis. Y'all got that stuff booked up down there. We tried to get a hotel in D.C., they laughing, and in Maryland, they laughing, and now in Virginia, they laughing. Ain't nobody got no room nowhere. Sister said, well, look, come stay with me. I said, well, I'd love to come and stay with you, sister. I appreciate the offer, but I got another brother too. She said, bring him too. I was like, oh, okay. And it occurred to me later in the years, she wasn't the only sister that probably did something to help brothers get there. I'm sure that was played out across America. People meeting in beauty shops and barber shops and whatever it took because black people were in unity on that idea. No one says, well, do you believe in the Nation of Islam or are you a Muslim? Or nobody cared about that. They believed in the unity of the event. They said, I believe in this, and we made it happen. It didn't make a difference on a lot of different things. We wanted that to happen, and we came together in unity for that particular event. Do you understand? So black people understand the concept of unity. Well, we understand it when we do it, but we don't understand it when we do it. Does that make sense? Yeah, because that was unity whether we recognize it or not, is my point. Really think of unity on something, all we have to do is find something we have shared interests on, shared goals on, and enough alignment to act when it matters. If interested in clear political thought, please subscribe as we address some of these other issues and put them in their proper context so that we can understand how to look at them and not be confused by all the mismessaging and misinformation that goes out. So that's all we're going to talk about for now for this aspects of unity. We will return to this because it's part and parcel of the larger issue of black struggle. Take care. Peace.